I'll put my cards totally on the table here. I have invited Rick Warren to come to the Desiring God National Conference this fall. And he's coming. Now, I will get a lot of criticism for this from my Reformed brothers. Not because Rick Warren is openly non-Calvinistic or non-Reformed. I don't think he wears his theological distinctives on his sleeve, but would be probably theologically more at home with where I am than where an Arminian is. I believe that. What makes Warren a problem, and I'm going to... when I wrote him, here's what I said, and he'll probably watch this video too. I said, the conference is called Think, the Life of the Mind and the Love of God. I want you to come. You are the most well-known pragmatist pastor in the world. I don't think you are a pragmatist at root. Come and tell us why thinking biblically matters to you in your amazingly pragmatic approach to ministry. I want him to lay his cards on the table. I want him to tell us what makes him tick. Because he does come across in much of what he says and does as very results-oriented and pragmatic and not theologically driven. And yet, I met him for the first time last year at Ralph Winter's funeral in Pasadena. And we sat beside each other on the platform for 3 hours. I like him because he sings. And he sings badly. And anybody who's willing to sing when they sing badly, I like them. And we were talking beforehand, and he said to me, I'm reading all the works of Jonathan Edwards this year. I pick a great theologian every year, and I read all of his collected works. I'm on volume 17 of the Yale series of Jonathan Edwards' works. You've got to be kidding me. Nothing you have ever said would incline me to think. So, these guys are going to go interview him tomorrow, I think, so you can quote some of these things. I do think he's deeply theological. He's a brilliant man. Wouldn't have the church he does, or the peace plan, or all the influence he does. And, of course, the greatest sentence in the purpose-driven life is the first one, isn't it? It's not about you, it's about God. The glory of God. So, I don't think he's emergent. At root, I think he is theological and doctrinal and sound. God is sovereign and central over all of life. I think Rick Warren meant it when he began the purpose-driven life with, it's not about you. Anybody wants to know why he's on the planet must begin with God. That's page 1 of day 1 in the purpose-driven life. He's a Baptist. That's relatively insignificant to me, but a little icing on the cake. That it's a Southern Baptist church out there, though they don't wave that banner. What would you think he believes about women elders? He's just totally there as far as the office of elder is concerned. We don't have them, he said. Can't find it in the Bible. Women have all the spiritual gifts, and they have all the gifts of pastoring. But as far as the office of pastor, the office of elder goes, he says, the Bible says it shouldn't happen. I'm committed to the Bible. Therefore, we're not going to go there. I'm going to need help to know why I should feel bad about this decision. Because, let me put it out, one bigger context. If you see a man do things that you wouldn't do, if you see him express attitudes that you wouldn't have, if he has strategies of ministry that you wouldn't do, what are you going to do with that? How do you rank up who you're going to hang out with and in what ways you're going to hang out? and who you're going to criticize and who you're not going to criticize. And I'm real eager that this glorious thing God is doing in the young, restless, reformed, whatever this thing is called that God's doing, awakening people's love for the supremacy of God in all things. I'm real eager that that not become a brittle, narrow, ugly, excessively separatist movement. And so I'm not devoting my life to finding a lot of enemies to attack. I've got some, and I like to do it by simply hammering on truth. I don't put Rick Warren in the group that I'm going to hold at arm's distance. And here, I just think he could put me to shame with his aggressively, in your life, transformative discipling of his church. They have a membership covenant that you have to sign, and it is really rigorous. And there are no inactive members, and he said, we discipline people in this church. They don't fulfill their covenant, they're going to be disciplined, and on and on. So I'm not going to draw the circle there, and suppose you disagree with me on that. Now you're faced with the question, okay, I'm with John Piper theologically. I'm not with Rick Warren on a bunch of things. John Piper has just chosen to hang out with Rick Warren. What do I do with John Piper? That's called secondary separation issues. And there you are. I hope we can disagree about who we hang out with. Okay? Because a lot of traditional fundamentalists have said, no, if you hang out with somebody that I believe I should separate from, then I'm going to separate from you. And I want to say, look, can we disagree about whether he would come to your conference and you still be willing to eat with me, talk with me? So I would encourage you to think through that issue of secondary separation.